Now, major biomes of India are shown in the figure. Now, if an MCQ comes about major biomes, you have to go with these four biomes. That is the tropical rainforest, deciduous forest, desert, and the seacoast. These will be the four major biomes in India. Alright. So total यहाँ पे 6 दिखाए हैं on the planet Earth. बट देन इंडिया में अगर आप जाओगे तो आपको ये टेम्परेट का डेसिडियस फॉरेस्ट दे हैव नेम्ड इट एंड देयर इज अ सी कोस्ट बायोम व्हिच इज अलोंग द सी व्हिच इज अलोंग द कोस्टल एरिया ऑफ इंडिया इफ यू सी इन द मैप. So major biomes of India four means deciduous forest, sea coast, desert and the tropical rainforest. Now, on planet Earth, life exists not just in few favorable habitats. ऐसा नहीं है कि जहाँ पे सारे environmental conditions favorable हैं, सबसे अच्छे हैं, life वहीं पे रहेगी, नहीं. Life is going to exist in the extremely harsh habitats also, like in the scorching Rajasthan desert, in the rain-soaked Meghalaya forest. Okay, so Meghalayas are the most heavily rainfall area in India. Rajasthan is the scorching desert heated area in India. It can exist in deep ocean trenches. Means जो bottom line रहता है ocean का उससे भी नीचे deep in the trenches. Okay, it can exist in torrential streams. Means in fast flowing water. Okay, where there is too much of current with which the water is flowing, उसमें भी life रहेगी. Permafrost polar regions. Permafrost is the word given for frozen soil which is present in the tundra region. It is present in the polar regions. So जहाँ पे soil frozen है वहां पे भी life exist करती है. It is not कि जहाँ पे soil नहीं मिलेगा plants को grow करने के लिए वहां पे life exist नहीं करेगी. Okay, high mountain tops हो या plain regions हो, life is going to exist. Boiling thermal springs हो वहां पे भी life रहेगी. Stinking compost pits जहाँ पे आप अपना पूरा garbage dispose करते हो वहां पे भी life exist करेगी. These are the few harsh habitats which are mentioned over here. So ऐसा नहीं है कि जहां पे सारे favorable climatic conditions हैं सारी species वहीं रह रही है. No, all the biomes, in fact, all these habitats, all these regional and local variations within a biome, यहाँ पे भी life exist करती है. Even our intestine is a unique habitat for hundreds of species of microbes. इसलिए मैंने ये जो sentence बोला था, which species will be living where will depend on the adaptations which it has made during the course of evolution. जैसे जैसे हर species evolve हुई है, it has done special adaptations with which it can stay in these harsh habitats also and it can stay in favorable habitats also. या जो किसी species के लिए favorable habitat है, वो दूसरे species के लिए unfavorable habitat रहती है. Because special adaptations are there. Okay, everybody has everybody has evolved to adapt. Now, what are the key elements that lead to so much variation in the physical and chemical conditions of different habitats? ऐसे क्या climatic conditions रहते हैं, क्या key elements रहते हैं जो ये different habitats बनाते हैं जिसकी वजह से number of species and the type of species change in each habitat. Okay, जैसे हमने देखा है mango trees कनाडा और जर्मनी में नहीं मिलेगी because that environment is not favorable for them. So कौन से ऐसे factors हैं which are going to play a key role? The most important ones are temperature, water, light and soil. These four are abiotic factors which are the key elements, okay, for so much variation in the physical and chemical condition of different habitats. MCQ. Temperature, water, light and soil. And these are also called the physico-chemical components or the abiotic components. But एक habitat को सिर्फ ये abiotic components characterize नहीं करते हैं. Okay? The physico-chemical abiotic components alone do not characterize the habitat of an organism completely. Habitat में जो biotic organisms रह रहे हैं, biotic components रह रहे हैं, उनको भी पकड़ना है। जैसे कि वो पैथोजेंस हो सकते हैं, वो पैरासाइट्स हो सकते हैं, वो प्रिडेटर्स हो सकते हैं, वो प्रे हो सकते हैं, वो एक दूसरे के कॉम्पिटिटर्स हो सकते हैं। बायोटिक कंपोनेंट्स को हम इस कैटेगरी में भी डिवाइड कर सकते हैं। इन अदर टर्म्स बोलूं तो हम उनको प्रोड्यूसर्स, हर्बीवोर्स, फर्स्ट लेवल ऑफ कार्निवोर्स, सेकेंड लेवल ऑफ कार्निवोर्स ऐसे भी डिवाइड कर सकते हैं। बायोटिक इज ऑल द लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स, okay? So we can group them, we can classify them as pathogens, parasites, predators, competitors, preys. We can classify them as producers, herbivores, carnivores, second level carnivores or the top carnivores. वैसे भी उसको क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं। ये आपको याद रखना है यहाँ पे एमसीक्यू के लिए, ओके? ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिज्म विथ विच दे इंटरैक्ट कॉन्स्टेंटली, और एक हैबिटेट में इन ऑर्गेनिजम्स के बीच में कांस्टेंट इंटरैक्शन चलता रहता है। एक स्पीशीज दूसरे के साथ कॉन्स्टेंटली इंटरैक्ट करती रहती है। तो अब हैबिटेट के बारे में जो एमसीक्यू आएगा, हैबिटेट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी स्पीशीज स्पेसिफिक, उसमें बहुत सारे स्पीशीज हो सकते हैं। हैबिटेट एक फिजिकल स्पेस है जो इन्वायरमेंटल कंडीशंस से बनी है, रीजनल एंड लोकल इन्वायरमेंटल कंडीशंस से एक बायोम के अंदर। ऑलराइट, ये आपको याद रखना है। हैबिटेट में बहुत सारी स्पीशीज हो सकती है जो वहां पे रहेगी, विच इज लोकली अडेप्टेड टू स्टे इन दोज एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशंस, एंड यहाँ पे कांस्टेंट इंटरैक्शन होता रहेगा स्पीशीज का एक दूसरे के साथ। We assume that over a period of time, the organism had, through natural selection, evolved adaptations to optimize its survival and reproduction in this habitat. During evolution, organisms evolve होते गए हैं। एक पर्टिकुलर स्पीशीज एक हैबिटेट में रहने के लिए मैक्सिमाइज होती गई है, इवॉल्व होती गई है। इट हैज ब्रॉट अबाउट द बेस्ट कैरेक्टर्स जो उसको वहां पे सर्वाइव करने में, एंड नॉट ओनली सर्वाइव बट रिप्रोड्यूस करने में भी हेल्प करेंगे। इट्स गोइंग टू बी इन दैट हैबिटेट, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी द प्लेस जहां पे वो मैक्सिमम एफिकेसी के साथ रहेगा। Survival of the fittest as well as survival of the one which is fit to reproduce. Now, the word niche is not given in this soft copy of the textbook, but आपके textbook में यहाँ पे niche word mentioned है. I am reading the textbook sentence. Each organism has invariably defined range of conditions that it can tolerate. Okay? एक particular conditions तक हर range रहती है. Means ये ऑर्गेनिज्म का अगर बेसिक टेम्परेचर 20 डिग्रीज है तो इट विल टॉलरेट फ्रॉम 5 डिग्रीज टू से 50 डिग्रीज। एग्जाम्पल के लिए, इट हैज अ पर्टिकुलर रेंज ऑफ टेम्परेचर विच इट कैन टॉलरेट। डाइवर्सिटी इन द रिसोर्सेज इट यूटिलाइजेज, वेदर इट इज अ हर्बीवोर, हर्बीवोर अलग रिसोर्सेज यूज करेगा, कार्निवोर अलग रिसोर्सेज यूज करेगा, डिकम्पोजर अलग रिसोर्सेज यूज करेगा, दैट इज अ डेट्राइटिवोर। ओके, सो इट विल हैव diversity in the resources it utilizes and a distinct functional role in the ecological system. एक ऑर्गेनिज्म दूसरे को हेल्प करता है, दूसरे के साथ कम्युनिकेट करता है। इट इज गोइंग टू हैव अ डिस्टिंक्ट फंक्शनल रोल इन द इकोसिस्टम, जिसको हम बोलते हैं कि ये इस ऑर्गेनिज्म का प्रोफेशन है या ये इस ऑर्गेनिज्म का ऑक्यूपेशन है। दीज एनालॉजीज वर गिवन बाय ऑडम। So this profession of the organism, it is called niche. This altogether comprises of the niche of an organism, and niche is going to be species specific. And Grinnell was the one who used the term niche for the first time. All right. So this you have to remember, habitat और niche का पर्टिकुलर डिफरेंशिएटिंग पॉइंट्स जो हमने अभी डिस्कस किए, ये स्टेट बोर्ड टेक्स्ट बुक में भी दिए हुए हैं। इट इज गिवन इन द नोट्स आल्सो व्हिच आई हैव गिवन यू फ्रॉम द चैप्टर ऑफ ऑर्गेनिज्म एंड पॉपुलेशन। ऑलराइट, नाउ मेजर एबायोटिक फैक्टर्स. Now you see that these four, that is temperature, water, light and soil, all these are the important elements. These are the important abiotic factors जो चेंज करते हैं एक हैबिटेट को या एक बायोम को। Okay, वहां के environmental conditions को change करते हैं। So let us see the temperature first. Temperature is the most ecologically relevant environmental factor. Important MCQ. चारों में से अगर most ecologically relevant पूछा तो temperature answer होगा। Now temperature और light pairing में एक साथ जाएंगे because you are going to get it from the sun. टेम्परेचर जितना ज्यादा, लाइट की इंटेंसिटी भी ज्यादा रहती है वो एरिया में. लाइट की इंटेंसिटी कम मीन्स द सनलाइट इज लेस, तो टेम्परेचर रिड्यूस होता है. टेम्परेचर और लाइट एक दूसरे के साथ जाते हैं पेयरिंग में. whereas soil and water they go together in pairing. soil का composition जैसा होगा, grain size जैसा होगा, water holding capacity उसके हिसाब से डिपेंड करेगी. so again in MCQs temperature and light एक साथ जाएंगे and soil and water will go together if it is to be come as grouping them. Now you are aware that average temperature on the land varies seasonably. ये आप और मैं भी एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं. वी नो समर्स में टेम्परेचर कितना रहता है, रेनी सीजन में कितना रहता है, विंटर्स में कितना रहता है. ओके, इट डिक्रीजेस प्रोग्रेसिवली फ्रॉम द इक्वेटर टुवर्ड्स द पोल. मैंने वो डायग्राम में समझाया था, इक्वेटर से जैसे हम नॉर्थ जाएंगे या साउथ जाएंगे, द टेम्परेचर इज गोइंग टू रिड्यूस. It is just near the equator, means 30 degree north and south, that is the tropical zone, जहाँ पे constant temperature रहेगा throughout the year. Otherwise, it is going to be varying. And from the pole, plains to the mountain tops. Plain पे जितना temperature रहेगा, mountain tops पे वो reduce होता जाएगा. So again, important MCQ. It is going to decrease from the equator towards the poles and from the plains to the mountain tops. It can range from sub-zero levels in the polar areas. ये हमने biome के ग्राफ में देखा है. Sub-zero भी जा सकता है and polar areas and high altitudes पे, and it can go to greater than 50 degrees centigrade in the tropical deserts in summer. So temperature sub-zero से लेके greater than 50 तक हो सकता है. There are, however, unique habitats such as thermal springs and deep sea hydrothermal vents, which are very deep in the sea, जहाँ पे average temperature can exceed 100 degrees centigrade. Important MCQ. Thermal springs and deep sea hydrothermal vents, here the average temperature can exceed 100 degrees centigrade. Now it is general knowledge that mango trees cannot grow in temperate countries like Canada and Germany because उनको hot conditions लगते हैं. Mango is a summer fruit, okay? It comes in summer only. हम भी mango summer में खाते हैं. So वो जो hot temperature required है, these countries cannot provide. So you will not see mango trees over here. Snow leopards are not found in Kerala forest because Kerala forest का जो temperature रहता है, that is not bearable to the snow leopards. You will find them only in the colder environments. And tuna fish are rarely caught beyond the tropics of the tropical latitudes in the ocean. Again, temperature vary karega. The composition of the water is going to vary, so you will see them in particular latitudes only. अगर एक ocean को divide करेंगे in the latitudinal form. Okay, you can readily appreciate the significance of temperature to living organisms when you realize that it affects the kinetic of enzymes. Why is temperature so important? Because हर organism की body के अंदर जो kinematics चलता रहता है, जो enzymatic reactions चलते रहते हैं, you know that enzymes are required for every process, okay, for every step in the human body. ये जो काइनेटिक्स चलता है, ये जो काइनेमैटिक्स ऑफ एंजाइम्स है, उसके लिए टेम्परेचर प्लेज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल, एंड थ्रू इट द बेसल मेटाबॉलिज्म ऑफ द बॉडी इज रेगुलेटेड. ओके, the activity of the body is regulated and other physiological functions of the organisms are regulated. So temperature inside the body, which is helping the body to function to maximum efficacy, is a very important factor. Now, a few organisms can tolerate and thrive in a wide range of temperatures. Means 0 से लेके 50 तक वो thrive कर सकते हैं. Wide range of temperature में रह सकते हैं. Those organisms will be called eurythermal. Eury means wide. Thermal means they can tolerate temperature in a wide range. जैसे कि human beings. अगर मुझे डेजर्ट में जाना है तो भी वहां जाके रह सकती हूँ. मुझे पोलर रीजन में जाना है, एंटार्क्टिका में जाना है, मुझे टुंड्रा रीजन में जाना है, आई कैन स्टे देयर आल्सो. ओके, बिकॉज द बॉडी इज गोइंग टू टॉलरेट दिस वाइड रेंज ऑफ टेम्परेचर. सो यूरीथर्मल, whereas majority of them are restricted to narrow range of temperature. ये यूरीथर्मल से 1% रहते हैं, बाकी सब स्टीनोथर्मल रहते हैं. Vast majority of them are restricted to narrow range of temperature, such organisms are called stenothermal. Steno means narrow and thermal means the temperature which they can regulate. They can stay only in that limited range of temperature. इनको बोलेंगे stenothermal. The levels of thermal tolerance of different species determine to a large extent their geographical distribution. अब कौन सी जोग्राफिक एरिया में कितना टेम्परेचर रहता है उसके हिसाब से आपको उस पर्टिकुलर एरिया में स्पीशीज मिलेगी. अब आप बोलोगे ह्यूमन बीइंग्स तो डेजर्ट में भी मिलते हैं, राजस्थान में भी और पोलर रीजन्स में भी मिलते हैं बिकॉज दे आर यूरीथर्मल, इसीलिए उनका वाइड जोग्राफिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन रहेगा. They can stay over here also, can stay over there also. Whereas stenothermal वाले narrow geographical range में मिलेंगे आपको. So that is going to be determined and that is going to determine to a large extent their geographical distribution. कि वो कौन सी एरिया में कौन सी स्पीशीज आपको मिलेगी एंड कौन सी एरिया में मैक्सिमम एफिकेसी के साथ मिलेगी. This again is going to be depending on the geographical distribution. This is going to determine it. Now eurythermal and stenothermal animals and plants के examples, just put it down in your notebook. I've given you in the notes, I've given in the lecture. Google करो, just make a note of it. Okay, so simple example से अगर याद रखना है तो man is eurythermal. Man के around जो भी plants जो भी animals आप देख सकते हो, they are majority of them eurythermal. All right. Whereas the other ones will be stenothermal. वैसे this statement is not all correct because eurythermal सब जगह पे मिलेंगे. All right. The ones which can tolerate a wide range of temperature, but then ये range कम होता आता है. ठीक है. कुछ organisms एकदम कम range tolerate कर सकेंगे, कुछ थोड़ा ज्यादा, कुछ बहुत ज्यादा, कुछ बहुत ज्यादा. So just make a note of eurythermal and stenothermal animals and plants. Now in the recent years, there has been growing concern about the gradually increasing average global temperature. अर्थ का जो टेम्परेचर है वो ग्रेजुअली थोड़ा थोड़ा इंक्रीज होता जा रहा है. सो वी आर कंसर्न कि ये ग्लोबल इंक्रीज नहीं होना चाहिए टेम्परेचर का, बिकॉज द अर्थ विल नॉट बी फेवरेबल फॉर द लाइफ टू सस्टेन इन ईयर्स टू कम अगर धीरे धीरे टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होता गया तो. दिस इज कॉल्ड ग्लोबल वार्मिंग. ये हम देखेंगे इन द चैप्टर ऑफ एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज. हम ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, हाउ वी आर पॉल्यूटिंग द एनवायरमेंट, हाउ वी आर द मेजर कॉज ऑफ ग्लोबल वार्मिंग and what should be done to stop this global warming. And yes, definitely अगर ये temperature कम होता गया, अगर earth और hot होती गई, so it is going to it is going to change the distributional range of species. It is going to affect them. Okay, if this trend continues. So ये global warming को रोकना है. We don't want the temperature to increase every year, or over the years we don't want the temperature of the earth to increase. Okay. Now, after temperature, the next abiotic component which is important is water. देखो statement ही दिया हुआ है. Next to temperature, water is the most important factor influencing the life of organisms. So temperature के बाद water will be the most important factor influencing the life of organisms. Important MCQ. Life on earth originated in water, MCQ, and it is unsustainable without water. We know all that. Its availability is so limited in deserts that only special adaptations make it possible to live here. You know the special adaptations of desert plants, that are the xerophytes. आपको पता है, हमने डिस्कस किए हैं क्या क्या adaptations करेंगे वो water को conserve करने के लिए. They are going to have sunken stomata. They are going to have decreased absorption of water. Okay, they are going to preserve water inside their body. इनकी leaves modify हो जाएगी spines में. The stem will be modified. Animals में हमने देखा है, they are going to conserve water. इनके excretory products में water बिल्कुल भी नहीं रहेगा. They are going to use metabolic water. इनको अगर ज्यादा दिनों के लिए पानी नहीं मिला पीने के लिए, they can do without it. Okay, so ये different adaptations रहेंगे. We will see this in detail later. So these spatial adaptations make it possible to live here. Xerophytes will be the plants which are living in dry conditions. Hydrophytes जहाँ पे बहुत सारा पानी है, aquatic plants. And mesophytes will be the intermediate term between the xerophytes and the hydrophytes. दैट इज मॉडरेट वाटर कंडीशंस में रह रहे हैं. सो इन तीनों जगहों पर प्लांट्स के अडेप्टेशन डिफरेंट रहने वाले हैं. ओके, its availability is so limited in deserts that only special adaptations make it possible to live there. The productivity and distribution of plants is also heavily dependent on water. जितना ज्यादा पानी रहेगा उतना ज्यादा अच्छी प्रोडक्टिविटी रहेगी. सनलाइट एंड वाटर इज यूज्ड बाय द प्लांट्स फॉर द प्रोसेस ऑफ फोटोसिंथेसिस. सो ट्रॉपिकल रेन फॉरेस्ट में जहाँ पे रेनफॉल सबसे अच्छा है एंड द सन इज शाइनिंग, द टेम्परेचर इज कांस्टेंट थ्रू आउट द ईयर, इट इज नॉट चेंजिंग सीजनली, प्रोडक्टिविटी सबसे अच्छी रहेगी, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ प्लांट सबसे अच्छा रहेगा, डाइवर्सिटी रहेगी. Okay, so these both are also heavily dependent on water. You might think that organisms living in oceans, lakes and rivers should not face any water related problems because उनके पास बहुत सारा पानी है. वो पानी में ही तो रह रहे हैं, तो उनको पानी की प्रॉब्लम नहीं होनी चाहिए, ऐसा we may suppose. But this statement is wrong. Okay, this is not true. For aquatic organisms, the quality of water is important, not the quantity. उनके लिए quality matter करती है. That is the chemical composition of water. The pH of water becomes important. Again, important MCQ. The salt concentration measured as salinity in parts per thousand. Important MCQ. इसको parts per thousand में measure करते हैं. और ये फिर से important MCQs. It will be less than 5 in inland waters, 30 to 35% in the sea, and greater than 100% in some hypersaline lagoons. The salt concentration is going to vary. Less than 5, 30 to 35%, and greater than 100% in hypersaline lagoons. मैंने बोला था find out करो which is the saltiest area on earth, जहाँ पे greater than 100% का salinity रहता है. Okay, some organisms are tolerant. Again, अब ये wide range of salinity को जो tolerate कर सकते हैं वो होंगे यूरीहलाइन. यूरी means wide, haline means the salinity, while others are restricted to a narrow range of salinity which is phenohaline. They can tolerate a narrow range of salinity. They cannot move. अगर fresh water का organism है which is adapted to stay only over there, cannot move to the oceans because the salt concentration is going to increase, and vice versa. Okay, so many freshwater animals cannot live for long in seawater and vice versa because of the osmotic problems they would face. Next, let us come to the third important abiotic factor, that is the light. Since plants produce food through photosynthesis, you all know sunlight is the basic thing which is required for photosynthesis. ये तो चाहिए ही चाहिए. Okay, a process which is only possible when sunlight is available as a source of energy. We can quickly understand the importance of light for living organisms. बहुत सारे organisms, that is the plants which are the main producers, they require sunlight for photosynthesis. Okay, they are called autotrophs. They produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis. For this photosynthesis, sunlight and water is essential. Many species of small plants जो नीचे रहते हैं, जिनकी height कम रहती है, that is the herbs and shrubs growing in forest, are adapted to photosynthesize optimally under very low light conditions. Because इनके ऊपर higher plants रहते हैं, higher trees रहती है, जिसके shadow से इनको कम sunlight मिलता है. These are called sciophytes. They are called shade loving plants. They are adapted to do photosynthesis in low light conditions because they are constantly overshadowed by tall canopied trees. Stratification जो हमने देखा था, नीचे ग्राउंड लेवल पे कुछ रहेंगे, कुछ थोड़ी हाइट पे, कुछ ज्यादा हाइट पे. जो सबसे ज्यादा ऊपर है उसको सबसे ज्यादा सनलाइट मिलेगा, उसके बाद और कम, उसके बाद और कम. Vertical distribution in an area. Stratification लिख लो यहाँ पे. Sciophytes will be the shade-loving plants, whereas heliophytes, they are called the sun-loving plants, जिनको सबसे ज्यादा sunlight मिलता है, जो adapted हैं maximum sunlight को use करने में, maximum sunlight में रहने में. They are called the heliophytes. Many plants are also dependent on sunlight to meet their photoperiod requirement of flowering. You have seen about the long day plants and short day plants in plant growth chapter. Okay, so ये sunlight की requirement बहुत plants को भी differently रहती है for their flowering. Some are short day plants, some are long day plants. For many animals too, light is important in that they use the diurnal and seasonal variations in light intensity and duration. ओके, लाइट की इंटेंसिटी का ड्यूरेशन, कुछ होते हैं डाययूर्नल एनिमल्स, दे आर एक्टिव ड्यूरिंग द डे, कुछ होते हैं नॉक्टर्नल एनिमल्स, दे आर एक्टिव ड्यूरिंग द नाइट, इसके साथ और टर्म्स लिख लो, कुछ होते हैं क्रेपेस्कुलर एनिमल्स, ओके, या होते हैं वेस्कुलर एनिमल्स, ये प्लांट्स, ये हमने टर्म्स डिस्कस किए थे, ओके. Vesperal animals, which are active during the evening time. Diurnal, active during the daytime. Vesperal, active during the evening time. Nocturnal, active during night. And aural, that is active during early morning. Okay, so these terms you have to write. They are related to the light intensity जिससे animals भी काम करते हैं for their foraging. Foraging means to search food, for their reproductive activities and their migratory activities. जैसे कि birds, we see them in the early morning, बाहर आते हैं, they search their food, go back. Then you see them in the late evening. एकदम आफ्टरनून में you do not see the birds. They do not come at that time to search their food. But before the sun sets, before it is dark, they will come and search their food and go. Whereas there are some species, there are some animals, there are some plants which are active during the night time. वो अपना सारा काम नाइट में करते हैं, they don't use the daylight, so they will be nocturnal. Okay, so ऐसे plants and animals, they use this photoperiod as cues for timing of their foraging, reproductive activities के लिए भी वो light का duration use करते हैं, and for migratory activities. जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया, like how we keep a track of the seasons. समर में डेज लॉन्ग रहते हैं, नाइट शॉर्टर रहती है, whereas winter में it is opposite. I hope you experience this. Winter में the days are shorter, the nights are longer. So animals, they also have an idea of this. They also calculate this day length. उनको पता रहता है कि ये किस पार्ट ऑफ द ईयर चल रहा है. जैसे माइग्रेटरी बर्ड्स को they calculate this day length. So जैसे जैसे day length छोटा होता जाता है, they know that यहाँ पे अभी winter आ रहा है, and if they have to migrate, if they have to escape that cold winter conditions, they know they have to prepare for migration जैसे जैसे day length छोटा हो रहा है. And finally when there is extreme winters, मतलब day length extremely छोटा हो गया है, at that time वो उसके आने के पहले वो migrate होके चले जाएंगे. They are going to migrate to a more hospitable environment. Okay, the availability of land is closely linked with that of temperature. मैंने बताया था कि temperature और light, these will go hand in hand. Okay, temperature and light, these will go hand in hand. So the availability of light on land is closely linked with that of temperature because sun is the source of energy for both. Sun is the source for both of them. But deep, very deep in the oceans, greater than 500 meters. अभी तो हमने stratification देखा है ocean में. ऊपर सबसे ज्यादा sunlight रहेगी, euphotic zone. Then you will have little sunlight, and the aphotic zone, it will have no sunlight at all. You understand the stratification in the oceans now. Okay, so deep, greater than 500 meters, the environment is perpetually dark and its inhabitants are not aware of the existence of the celestial source of the energy called sun. उनको पता ही नहीं रहता है कि sunlight भी ऐसा एक source of energy है. What then is their source of energy? उनका source of energy जो ऊपर के organisms हैं, जो वो sunlight use कर रहे हैं, वो जब die होके bottom पे आ जाते हैं, sediments पे आ जाते हैं, ये dead decayed matter is their source of energy, which they are utilizing to sustain their life, and they are going to do chemosynthesis. ये chemoautotrophs रहेंगे. okay, which are not going to utilize the sunlight to produce their food. They will be chemo autotroph. So ये रहेगा इनका source of energy. The spectral quality of solar radiation is also important for life. You know that the solar radiation is divided into infrared UV rays, the visible spectrum, okay, the X-rays. So the quality of solar radiation जो हमको receive हो रही है, वो भी important है for sustaining life. Like we say, the UV rays are harmful. All right. So कौन सी रेज अच्छी हैं, कौन सी हार्मफुल है, कौन सी यूटिलाइज करेंगे हम, ये भी इम्पोर्टेंट है. The UV component of the spectrum is harmful to many organisms, while not all the color components of the visible spectrum. Now UV component रहता है 100 to 400 nanometers तक. I hope you know this. The visible spectrum is from 400 to 750 nanometers. Okay, with gear ये range रहती है, starting from violet, then indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. Red is one which will have the highest range, the highest nanometers, which can penetrate to greater depth. Okay, so not all the visible spectrum is available to the marine animals. जैसे जैसे हम नीचे जाएंगे, ये visible spectrum ऊपर violet, indigo, blue, green light रहेगी, उसके बाद yellow, orange light रहेगी, and deepest you will have the red light, which can go to that depth. Okay, so you will find the red algae over here among the red, green and blue, green and brown. Green, blue algae तो आपको surface पे ही मिलते हैं, which you can see. But deep in the oceans you will be finding red algae. They will be the inhabitants over there. They have adapted to stay over there. And also they will have a pigment which is called phycobilin, which is going to absorb this little amount of light which is reaching over there, little amount of uh, sunlight which is reaching over there, okay, of the visible spectrum which is coming. Now next, soil. Soil is a very important factor again, because plants को grow करने के लिए soil चाहिए. Mainly everybody is dependent on the producers. So producers are the one which are growing the soil. Soil के सारे जो nutrients हैं, ये plants pick up करते हैं. And when we eat these plants, we are taking up the nutrients from them. When the carnivores eat the herbivores, they are taking up the nutrients from them. So the nature and property of soil varies in different places. We have discussed कि हर जगह का soil on the ecosystem, on this planet Earth, is not going to be same. Its nature is going to be different. Its properties are going to be different. It is going to be dependent on the climate in that area, the weathering process, means कैसे rocks break होके वो soil बना है. It's going to be dependent on that. Whether the soil is transported, एक जगह से लाके वहां पे transport किया है, it's going to be dependent, उसका nature क्या रहेगा, or it is sedimentary, and how soil development has occurred during the course of evolution, during the course of succession. Soil कैसे बना है धीरे धीरे, इसके हिसाब से depend करेंगे उसका nature and उसकी properties. Various characteristics of the soil, such as soil composition. अब soil का composition क्या क्या रहेगा यहाँ पे लिख लो. It will consist of minerals 40%, organic matter 10%, water or moisture, that is 25%, the air or atmosphere, which is air is trapped inside, वो होगी 25%, and the living organisms. Soil is also going to have n number of bacteria or microorganisms which are living there inside. Okay, so and many detritivores also जो soil में रहते हैं. Because of this, the nature of soil is going to be a dynamic one. It's not going to be a static one. Because of these living components, it's going to be dynamic in nature. Now, depending on the size of the particles, okay, various characteristics of the soil, such as soil composition हमने देखा है. Now, grain size, that is the size of the particles. अब ये हमने डिस्कस किया है. It can be clay, it can be sandy, it can be loamy, it can be coarse sand, it can be coarse gravel. In the notes you have the particle size of all of these. Just mention it over here. Okay, and depending on this grain size, it is going to determine the percolation or the water holding capacity. मीन्स कितना पानी होल्ड करेगा वो सॉइल, इट्स गोइंग टू बी डिपेंडेंट ऑन दैट. Hollard is the total amount of water which is present in the soil. Crisard, C for Crisard, is the capillary water which the plants can use, which is usable, which is available for the plants. And Eckhard is the water which is unavailable to the plants. So Hollard is going to be the total amount of water. It is going to be equal to the Crisard plus Eckhard. So ये equation आपको याद रखना है. This is given in the notes. Just go through it. Hollard is equal to Crisard plus Eckhard. Crisard is the water which is available to the plants. Eckhard is one which is not available to the plants. अब फिर से इसमें कितना सॉइल है, कितना पानी है, क्या कॉम्पोजिशन है, उसके हिसाब से वेजिटेशन डिफर करेगा एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में. These characteristics along with parameters such as pH भी डिफर करेगा उसके कॉम्पोजिशन के हिसाब से. So the best pH is 5.5 to 6.5, जिसको हम acidic pH बोल सकते हैं. Okay, but not highly acidic. It is more towards alkaline because 7 is the neutral pH. So MCQs में ये ऐसे भी आ सकता है, slightly acidic. So 5.5 to 6.5 is the best pH. And mineral composition and topography, this all will determine the vegetation. कौन से एरिया में कौन से plants grow करेंगे will also depend on the soil in that particular area. And vegetation पे कौन depend करेगा, कौन से type of animals रहेंगे. This in turn dictates the type of animals that can be supported in that particular area. Similarly, aquatic environment में, अब water bodies में नीचे जो sedimented रहता है, that is again soil. उसका composition is going to determine the type of benthic animals that will be staying over there. We have seen the three terms: planktons, nectons, and benthos. Benthos are the aquatic animals which will be living deep on the soil surface of the ocean. Planktons will be the floating animals, nectons will be the active swimmers, whereas benthos will be utilizing the sediment characteristics of the oceans, which will be deep, will be staying deep in the oceans over there. All right. So all these points, just go on making a note in your NCERT textbook with me.